Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our visual sound webinar on special education for your virtual classroom. We have a special guest host today, Marty Ford from Pennsauken School District. Marty's been teaching for over 20 years with 13 in special education. We welcome Marty and we are excited to have him today. If you would like to receive resources after our webinar, please put your email address in the chat box. Also, just for your reference, it is being recorded and it will be on YouTube later if you would like to refer back to today's webinar. All right, Marty, take it away.
Hello, guys. How are you? It's very weird to be doing this remotely and not being able to read the room as you speak. But nice to meet you. I'm Marty Ford. As Corey said, I teach high school mathematics and have done a lot of work with special education students over the last 23 years. I've spoken at NCTM, which is National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, talking about accommodations and accommodations we can make with respect to using whiteboard and interactive technology with our special ed population. So without further ado, let's get moving. So a couple weeks ago, I reached out to Visual Sound, who I've worked with throughout my time, and I said, "How are you guys doing with special ed?" And my friend Karen said, "Listen, Mark, you got to help us out. What do you got going on?" So I was just my firm belief is that great teaching, it doesn't matter if it's regular ed or special ed. It's just good teaching, and we want to accommodate, because at this moment, there's a lot of our students and parents, for that matter, that are struggling with remote learning environments. So with that being said, I just wanted to start, and I'll present my slide deck, and let me present, and I'll jump in, and let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about teaching special ed. Is everyone okay? Everyone sees my if you do not see my screen, head up to the right corner of your Meet window. You'll see a little two-person icon. If you click on that, it will give you a list. And then as you slide down the list, if you go down to my name, Marty Ford, there should be one that says presenter. Go to the left and click on that little icon, and you should be able to see my screen. Okay.
Actually, so, Marty, you're listed as Karen Moore.
Oh, Karen
you're
Moore,
logged in with her account, and your presentation's not there. So can you double check that you shared it to the presenter?
Yeah. So I have sharing my whole screen. One moment. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Jump over. Let's jump in. Present now. My entire screen. Okay. There we are. Okay, we should be good to go now. Okay, do you see it now?
Now it's coming.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, we're talking today about teaching special education, or teaching all students in a remote learning environment. It's new for all of us. I just talked to a friend this morning and said, I feel like I was a doomsday prepper, not with food and toilet paper and paper towels, but with education. For the last 11 years, I've been preparing for, having this go on and having this take place. So how do we build our repertoire for meeting the needs of our students remotely? We're really struggling. I think teachers as a whole are struggling with our new norm. We're in this business because we're used to teaching children. Now we're teaching screens. So how do we break through the screen and reach the child? So they're solely technology-based instruction for the last month. And after much thought, much deliberation, it came down to three key issues that we're struggling most with. Lesson delivery, differentiation that assists, enables students' interaction with content, and how are we managing our classroom, okay? So I don't know at this time, does anybody have any thoughts or an experience that maybe doesn't fit into these three categories that you might want to share? If you want to, turn on your microphone and just share for a moment if you feel that way. Okay, so let's move on. First off, lesson delivery. There is a large debate right now. What are we? Are we Google Zoom? Are we Google Meet, or are we going to use Zoom? Okay, I've experienced with both. I started out with Zoom, okay? And with Zoom, very popular right now. Most people are using it to meet with family members and so forth. The reason people are preferring Zoom is it shows a grid with everyone. You can hit a gallery view, and in gallery view, it's all these tiles and you can see. And and they have a mute button that you have one click that you can mute everyone. Okay, so Google Meet is trying to compete with them. So there was an update that came out yesterday. It's being rolled out yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Some of the Google Meet improvements to meet the needs of what Zoom offers and Meet does not is, first off, they're going to have a grid that shows up to 16 people at once. Okay, Zoom advertises that they can go 7 by 7 or 49, and Meet wants to get there, but they're only at 16 so far. Okay, so that's the first thing. So that's a vast improvement over what we've had. The next thing is, for the mute button, we can mute in our Meet, but when we're in Meet, you can only mute one at a time. Zoom has a mute all button, okay? And they're working on that, and Meet has posted, Google has said that they expect that out within the next couple weeks. And they thought it was gonna be ready for this update, but it was not. The good thing about Meet is there's a secure link directly through your Google Classroom. So if you don't know how to do that, I'll try to show you towards the end when I jump into my Google Classroom. But you can set up a Google Classroom link for Meet so that it is completely secure. It's a closed circuit. Your students would go in and click this unique link, Meet link, and then go in there, okay? And they're not able to enter that meeting window until you are there, okay? The updates are happening now. They're real time. The ease of use is a big plus, and the extensions that are offered by the Google Chrome store are very, very neat and varied. Okay, and they help us meet some of the deficiencies that we have with respect to Zoom. So I think, in my estimation, Google Meet is there. It's getting better, and it's more geared towards education, and it helps our students. Okay. Two things that Zoom does have that Meet does not: virtual background. You're going to need a green screen, and breakout rooms, which is you can set up mini rooms inside of your Zoom. So I'll talk more about that in a moment. Okay, so right now we're between Meet and Zoom. About 15 minutes ago, before we went on, I thought to myself, what if I was presenting to my students a passage, and they need to see me as I was reading to them, to gain, to maintain eye contact so the kids aren't looking away or anything like that, if they were special ed and they needed that interaction, that one-to-one. So I thought to myself, why not split our screen? Okay, this was done on my Mac, and this is actually able to be done on Windows machines or on Chromebooks. They all have a split screen option. We'll share it with you, but for my Mac, I simply go up to the top left corner of my window, have two separate windows, and I long click, and I can just choose. I have my Google Meet on the left-hand side of the window, and on the right-hand side, I'm presenting my slide. So you can have both going at the same time, and I think it's neat. And this is actually a live picture and a live video feed as we go. So I really think that is an improvement over the last couple of weeks, thinking about what do we have available that we can do right now. Okay, going back to Zoom for a second, it needs to be enabled online on their website and on their settings menu. And what it does is it allows everyone to go into either automatic groups for small group collaboration, or you can assign them to groups. So for instance, last week I was teaching a class, and I have 25 kids, and I gave 3 parts to this project, and I separated them into 3 groups. And I manually, chose where the kids go live. I could have done that before the meeting or during the meeting. I was waiting to see who was there before I did it during the meeting. So I didn't do it before, I did it during. And when I did that, the children go into separate conference calls within our Zoom meeting. So the way I think about it is, it's like being in a doctor's office, and there are 3 rooms with patients in there, and I'm the doctor as the teacher, and I can go room to room and visit and have small group collaboration. I can have one-on-one group meetings if I want, as they're working in separate rooms. So I assign the groups. I could do it before or during. A lot of this stuff, if you want to see it in action, I can demonstrate in the set right after 2 o'clock. but you can also just go up to Google search bar and type in, how do I set up Zoom breakout rooms? And it's there. If you're in Zoom, this button is not there unless you enable it, okay, in the settings. So a lot of people don't know about it because it's not there unless you enable it. For Google Meeting, I think the record meeting option, although Zoom has it, it's really nice. For Google Meet, when you present now, like we are doing, if you look up in the top left-hand corner, there should be a record icon going. I can't see it because I'm teaching right now, but with record, the great thing about that is once we're done recording, as a teacher, children cannot record, okay? Only teachers can. Students cannot record, only teachers can. And when we finish the recording, it immediately goes to our Google Drive, which makes it shareable. Makes it shareable in our calendars. It makes it shareable in our Google Classroom. It's really easy to spread the video, share the video with others, okay? Present now, right now, I'm presenting my entire screen. You can actually see this is my video right now, but I can go back over and go back to my presentation and go back and forth between other things. If I chose just a window, it stays on just this window, okay? So it gives you some options. Okay, so are there any, if you have any questions, don't hesitate, put them in the chat box and we could have Corey bring it up as we talk. But now, as we start to move a little bit forward, I want to bring this up. Teachers are having issues teaching children as they see our writing. For instance, I would love to model for you how to write something, okay? Well, for me to do that, I need a DocuCamera, okay, document camera. And we call them Elmos, and there's all different types of names and smart document cameras. But there is a document camera that turns your iPhone into a document camera. So before I read this to you, let me go to the next page and you can see the example, okay? In this example over here, it's actually my phone with an app on it called iPivo DocCam, okay? And on my computer, I downloaded something. You can put it on a Chrome book. It's an app. You can download the app on your Mac or on your PC, and it's called iPivo Visualizer. It's called Visualizer, okay? I have it on the other page right here. But what I have is I actually have a window that opens up on my computer, and my phone is acting with the app as a camera and projecting this image onto my computer screen. So I can go through small group instruction. I can go through and manually enter all that and have them watch as I work. It won't be cluttered like this. On the left-hand side, I just took a picture because this is the neat part. These are cans of beans with my camera in between the two cans to act as a stand for my camera, for my phone, okay? So with what you have currently, you could make this happen. You could make a document camera because a lot of people are struggling because I don't have touch screens to present from. So this is from a group called iPivo, the business called iPivo. You might have seen their document cameras before. It makes your smartphone into a document camera. You must put the visualizer on your computer. iDocuCam app on the smartphone. It allows students to view your camera's presentation, handwritten instructions, physical modeling for science experiments. I know that Heather's in this group, and I mentioned this to Mrs. Danis, and Mrs. Danis at our children's school was able to go underneath the camera and show a pine cone seeds and stuff like that. She was doing modeling remotely, which was fantastic. The tip that I said was, if you lack an iPhone stand or a smartphone stand, you could just take a couple cans from your kitchen, okay? Let me just bring up my face for a second. The taller you want the taller that you want the stand to be, you can just add cans underneath and just keep one can on top of your phone and then just hang it off and you can see, okay? Okay, so that's document camera, okay. And the last part, let me just see, yeah, the last part is when we discuss an interactive space to work on, Google has something called Jamboard, okay? What Jamboard is, it is an interactive canvas that can be shared to your students, and it's a whiteboard that you can do work on, and your students could also be viewing this live on their Chromebook. And you could also give them sharing rights, like they can edit with you, or they can just view, okay? But you're able to do this with them. And what it does over here is it actually gives you the chance to have an editable workspace, tools like pens and markers and highlighters and paintbrushes. There's an eraser, okay? So what I was thinking was, why not put up a black line master, some sort of picture, maybe a coloring picture, and have the children come in and give them quadrants to work on. And the kids could color or do work on the same canvas at the same time. Now, of course, they would need a touch screen. So a tablet or an iPad, okay, they could access that right through their browser and go right into Jamboard and start creating, okay? You can insert sticky notes, you can insert images, and there's a pointer just like I have right here, okay? This pointer is in slides. When I'm presenting full screen, down at the bottom on my menu bar, there's actually a pointer, and it helps. It's like a laser pointer. Okay, so does anybody else have an interactive space that they currently use that you'd like to share? Okay, because I think it's between Zoom and Google Meet, but there's extras. Okay, so now we'll talk about virtual classroom management.
Sorry to interrupt, but there's an interactive slide called Pear Deck, P-E-A-R, like the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can create a Google slide. I could create a slide presentation where students can go in and write and do things on it.
Yeah, Pear Deck is phenomenal. There's one coming up called Explain Everything. So there's all these different. It's funny because I go through. And what's your name? I'm sorry.
Don.
Don. Hey, Don. What the great thing is, we have this list of all these different resources. There are so many to list. I have a sheet that goes through, and I have all these things, and I'm thinking, what can I fit? What 10 pounds can I fit in this 5-pound bag? And that's what I was thinking when I go into this and go into that. Pear Deck is phenomenal. It gives a chance for formative assessment right within your slides. It's really, really nice. I like using that in class with my students, but I'm also a Smartboard guy, so I go between a couple different types. But that's awesome. And I'm assuming a lot of people might use Smart Learning Suite. That's another one that's pretty popular, okay? So moving ahead, we're going to talk about virtual classroom management. Okay, so for grid view, okay, so I'm going to, if you can still see my screen, okay, does everyone see that I'm on you can see my screen right now? Inside of here, there are add-ons. I have 3 add-ons specifically. An add-on called Grid View, which allows me, when I select that, I can see everyone in a grid, okay? I can see everyone at once, and whoever's speaking, there's a blue line around theirs, okay? Around their box, it shows the person. I can actually turn it off if I wish, okay? So that's called Grid View. I'll go back to that, okay? So for Grid View, everyone can be seen on the panel at one time. Okay, it highlights the speaker, and it also includes yourself. So you can put yourself in the middle, and then everyone else be around you, and you can, sit and teach. Okay, so that's an extension. You find these extensions at Google Chrome Store. Okay, Google Chrome Store. And if you go through and just you go through and find the word Grid View, it'll come up, and it actually looks like this down here. Okay, so I will go big screen so you can see it. Okay, and I can see right here, it'll say Google Meet Grid View. And you just add it to Chrome, and then it'll pop up in the top right-hand corner of your Google Meet. Okay, it looks like a little checkerboard, okay? And it'll also be up in your Chrome window along the menu bar up top, okay, where your extensions are. There's one called Nod, N-O-D, Nod. This is good for students who are nonverbal, okay? Where students have an anxiety, social anxiety to speaking. I mean, kids aren't used to having themselves on a camera, and they're not used to having themselves speak to large groups or perceived large groups. Well, Nod, what that does is in the top left corner of your screen, it'll allow you to choose emoticons, okay? So there are thumbs up, there's a thumb up, there's a raise your hand, there's an applause. So those are in the top left corner of your screen when you have Google Meet activated, okay? So it's an add-on for Google Meet. Again, that's called NOD, which is Nod. The kids would also have to download it. So maybe you go in with them and you have a Google Meet and you show them how to, or the parents or their guardians, show them how to find that Google Chrome extension and then help them put that in there. But if you're an admin in your district with respect to technology and Google, you can add that on the back end so everyone would have the Nod extension, okay? And that goes for GridView also. Finally, Meet Attendance, which is a Google Meet extension also, has it has an icon up top where when you select it, it automatically takes, I'm sorry, it should be over where the apple is. I changed that. Okay, the apple right there, it's called Meet Attendance. And for Meet Attendance, what that does is when my class is going, as long as I go, I'll skate for a second. I'll do it live and let you see. Once I go and I select that little apple up top, it's illuminated when I'm on Google Meet. When I press that, it takes me directly. There we go. Come on. It's taking me over to, let me just see where it is. Come on. Okay, Meet Attendance options. Add a new sheet. Okay. Come on. It's acting up right now. Normally what happens, of course this would happen, when you select that apple, it directly goes over to, you know what, I'm logged in as Karen. So that's why it's not allowing me to go into her Gmail. When I select that, it will automatically send over to my Google Drive a spreadsheet with everyone's name in it, okay? Before I had that, I would actually take my phone and take a picture of the list of people in order to take attendance when I was having my meeting. But now I just I select class attendance and it's there, okay? Let's go back, okay. I know your time, I want to honor your time, make sure I'm not keeping you too long. Okay, Wheel of Names. Wheel of Names is simply a website that you go on and you could change all these portions. You can add spaces if you want. You could add pictures. You could add names. You could add prompts. You could add images of math examples and spin it and let the kids do whatever pops up. Okay, so it was really easy to use and it's free. So that's why I included that. It's just something and it's different for kids, you know, something neat for them to see. And when you get this, guys, please understand when you select it, there's going to be links in there. So I just selected that name, that picture, and it's taking me to the Wheel of Names. By default, it heads right to this one where I think there are foods and names on there. And you simply click it and it spins and it'll end. Okay. And you'll see what it chooses. Okay. So imagine if you were in there and you had your children, you could put kids in there, you could put example 1 through 10 in there and then spin it, and the next person you would choose to do that problem. There are, when you head in here, you can make your own wheels, and once you log in with your Google, it'll stay, okay? So you could pull them back up and open them if you wanted to. Okay. Just head over to, this is something that my sister has children in Philadelphia School District, and she's like, I do not know how to write on a PDF, okay? You can take a PDF and turn it into a Google Doc, but there's something called Kami. Some people call it Kami, but I just call it Kami. It allows users to make changes to flattened PDF files, okay? Students can now answer on the distributed PDF worksheet on Google Classroom. The Classroom app is in Chrome, okay? The Chrome store, and it connects to Google Drive. So when kids make changes to it, all the changes are immediately saved. So you can see here, I wrote my name in there. Down at the bottom, I put in an equation. You can add text, shapes, all types of things. So Kami it's definitely worth the price of admission. Up at the top, it'll actually keep a record of all your documents. And the premium version is actually free right now because of the COVID crisis. Okay,
Marty, I have a quick question for you on that one.
Yep.
So this Kami, because I haven't played around with it myself, if you had a PDF in Google Classroom, can you do and make a copy for each student, or would the student have to make their own copy in order to edit it and then repost it to Google Classroom?
What I would do is I would distribute it. I would take my PDF, I would put it into Classroom, and make a copy for each student. The thing is, on the student end or the parents helping, okay, when they open it up on their end, you can open it up with Kami. And when they open it up with Kami, then they can go and make all the adjustments and resubmit it to you. So it works inside of Chrome. I mean, it works inside of Google Drive.
It wouldn't automatically show you the student's progress. The student would have to manually re-edit.
They have to manually re-edit, but you cannot peek in like you can. I think this is what you're saying. Like in Google Classroom, when I assign a copy, I can keep peeking in and looking at their achievements to see how they're improving and doing more and more. It doesn't have that live option like that. No.
Okay, and then you have a question in the chat. As long as I have my mic unmuted, for Kami, do both you and your students have to download the app? I think that answers yes, but I'll let you double confirm that.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes, but if you look, it's funny because you get in here and let me just see. I might run into a problem because I'm logged in as Karen. But let me just see for a second. So I have this right. Let me go find a PDF. Okay. And are you able to see this, Corey?
Yes, we're seeing your Google Drive right now.
Okay. So I'm in here right now. When I go to open this up, when I right click on this or two-finger click, I can open it up with Kami. So when I open it up, as it appears, you're going to see that I can actually add things there. Okay. So, and I'll zoom in on this so you can see some of it. Okay. So I'm in here as a student, and you can change it to teacher, student. I could upgrade. I think because I'm in my school. You're kind of set up as a. Oh, I was showing her how to do this with. I was showing my sister how to do this with her son, so that's why it looks like that. No. Okay. Shoot. No. Click that for right now. Okay, so now that I'm in as a teacher, you can see in the upper left corner it says teacher. If I was a student, I'd be student, of course. Down the side, I have all these things. I have it upgraded, but as I fill things in, I can add. Let me see, text box. I'm able to add text to it. Okay, let me make it big so you can see it. Okay. And I'm able to move this wherever I wish. Okay, come on. Okay, and now at this point up here, I can just share my document, or I could save it, or I could open a file. I can do all this up here, so I can send this directly to. Come on. It'll update inside of my. It'll update inside of my Kami and also inside of my Google Drive. Okay, and up here you can see the connection between the two. So it takes a little getting used to. See, now it reverted back to, I should have, my equation should be unlocked and everything, but for some reason I think there's a conflict between my email, my school email, and Karen. So because I'm in the same Chrome browser. But as you do it, you would just share it right back and it allows them to do it. My kids prefer using PDFs instead of using Google Docs. So they're saying, Mr. Ford, can you just send that out and it's flattened and I can't move things around and everything's static and not able to be moved. Okay, not able to be altered unless they're altering what they're doing. Okay, does that answer your question to a certain extent?
Yes, that explains more of Kami. I didn't see any more questions about it come up in the chat box at this point.
Okay, thank you. Immersive Reader. Okay, this is phenomenal. This is probably my favorite since being out of school. With with Immersive Reader, it mimics what Microsoft's Immersive Reader does, and the extension's right up here, okay? It's up in my toolbar. And it looks just like this. And what it does is, and it's easier for me to explain. If I go and find an article, okay, so I can look up COVID crisis. Not that anyone wants to hear any more of that. I can find an article, and when I find an article or any web page or any resource, what I'm able to do up here is when I select Immersive Reader, okay, it'll tell me. I just want to show you because this is what it'll say. I'm okay with that. Okay. I don't even know what I'm clicking. Okay, here it goes. It says to me, to get started, just select some text on your website, right click and choose help me read this. Okay. So if I jump back and I select, let me hide that. Okay, let me just get out of here. Okay, if I select any of this text and I right click on this text and I say to it, help me read this, that option will be there because I have Immersive Reader and I'm inside of Chrome. When I select it, it'll show the text. I'm going to turn it up so you can hear it. It will bring up the text. It allows me to play. Okay. I can pause it. I can go up here to text preferences, change the size of the text for those with visual impairment. I can increase the spacing if I wish, or decrease the spacing to fit more. Okay. I can go in and choose different fonts, change the themes. Up top, I can also go to my grammar options. I can turn on all of the nouns. So these parts of speech, I could change the colors, and it immediately goes and does this for me. And then one more over here, it'll follow line by line. It'll follow 3 lines at a time, or it'll show everything. It includes a picture dictionary if I wish, and will also translate the word and by document. This is probably the most powerful extension that we have so far. So I don't know if that helps, and here I'll just demonstrate.
Marty, you can't hear your internal audio through the Hangout.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, and I got headphones in, so
that's why I wanted to let you know.
Okay, no problem. So that's called Immersive Reader. It's a nice add-on. Okay, we're at 2:03. I have let me just bounce through. I'll go to the best ones, and then I'll give you guys time to ask questions. Okay. So we have Immersive Reader, and then once we get to differentiation, same type of thing. There's one called Read Aloud. That's a Google extension that is right up in your Google menu up top in that little menu bar, and you press that, and it'll read everything on the screen. Okay, has a pause feature, changes the size of the text on the read box, etc. Okay, and it'll look like this down here on the right-hand side. It's Windows expandable also. Insert Learning. This is good. Now, I wouldn't say this is good for anyone. If you give them an article or some sort of text, and you can insert learning directly into your text. So the article will now have a little, you can put a Post-it note in there. You can put a writing prompt for them to respond. You can put in a multiple choice question, a bunch of different things you can do here. You can insert other instructional content. Maybe it's an add-on, maybe it's a picture that you have. Okay, and you can assign all this directly through Google Classroom. The kids would click and come to this article that has, imagine you giving them an article paper that has highlightings, has highlighted text, has a little sticky note, remember to do this, maybe it has a question prompt here and so forth for formative assessment. They have it all in there, okay, with Insert Learning. And that's also free. And if you look here, it's an article that I created a question. I put a little sticky note, okay, that they would go and they would answer. And then I have some highlighted text up top. Rewordify, you copy and paste text. And what it does is it makes it easier to understand. His elder daughter's and it says her older daughter's kidney disease instead of nephritis. So it's a website that they can jump to. And when you go and work on this, when you look at this after today's session, the rewordified image, if you click there, it'll take you right to it, okay? Explain Everything, again, is another Infinite Campus. The ability of these types of websites are being duplicated often because there's so many of them out there. But Explain Everything, the great thing about this is they have templates. And the templates that they have, they're infinite interactive canvases that are shareable to students and other collaborators. They have templates, including drawing, images, videos, and so forth, and they look like this. And if you share it, it's free right now. If you share it, kids can go into the class, see what's going on. They can fill these things out, and maybe you assign them to groups of children. So give it to student 1, and student 1, 2, 3 all work on that one canvas. Hand another one out to student number 4 in Google Classroom, and hand it out to the 4, 5, and 6. So there's ways to include group work in there too. Edpuzzle is fantastic. It's just, you find there's a large library cache between Nat Geo and YouTube and Khan Academy. You find videos there, and if there's a video up on the web, you take that video and you can insert your voice over it. You can crop the clip, so no more giving a 7-minute clip that you only wanted minutes 2 and 3 in there. You can crop the video to what you want, and you can also insert assessment. You can insert questions and extended response answers and so forth. I've used this. I used it Wednesday with my students and today with my students. And you can assign directly through Google Classroom. It connects. Desmos, this is something for hands-on secondary math with secondary math students, with special ed students. It's great because it's hands-on, virtual hands-on, that allows them to manipulate portions of equations and portions of graphing and geometry. Okay, and you click and you drag, and this is good teaching for all students. Oh, this was good. In Google Meet, if you want to check this out right now, go on your screen, click in the middle of your Google Meet screen, and down at the bottom, next to where it says Present Now, I want you to select Captions, turn on Captions. And when you turn on Captions, everything I say will be recorded, and you'll see the subtitles down the bottom. Okay, you can easily just toggle it on and off. Okay, so if you had trouble understanding what I was saying because I was talking too fast, you could click that and just watch. Okay, the unfortunate thing is when you record your video, you will not see those captions afterwards. Those captions.
I also just want to point out, if somebody else talks, you'll notice on the captions, it tells you which person's microphone is picking up the voice. So if your students do have hearing disabilities, it will say, like, for example, Marty's using Karen's account, but it would say Karen Moore and his voice would be listed. And then it would say Corey Freed and my voice. So the students would know who's talking. It's not just a blanket text.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great point. And what I want to do is I just want to mention one thing real quick with News ELA. Anyone who has children who are on a lower Lexile reading level, with News ELA, this is free. I've had a free version of this for a long time, and it's really met the needs of my needs. But what you're able to do is you're able to find current events. Nothing's worse than my child coming home and I have to do a current event with them, and everything you look up is too mature. It's not very educationally sound or appropriate. On News ELA, you can visit there and everything is good to go. You can sort and filter with respect to content, with respect to current events, grade level, reading level, everything. But when you have it appear, the best part about it is you can customize the Lexile level just simply with a little drop down at the top of the article. Okay. And what I didn't include that right there, but you might go from something that's a 1280 Lexile level, which is a high school level, and you have to get down to a 580, which is, let's say, a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. The content stays exactly the same. The content stays the same, just the words change. So you're still getting the same comprehension I always think about it like an on ramp. That zone of proximity, people can jump into your lesson even though if they have a poor reading level or a lower reading level rather. Okay, so it helps for the reading levels to be appropriate for each student and can be customized quickly. And all the assessments that are online are also adjusted. So if I choose a higher Lexile level for someone on the upper end of the reading level, all the assessments change as well. Okay. And with that being said, guys, at the end there's a bunch of links here. Help yourself. If you want to email me, just contact Corey or Kara Moore from Visual Sound, and I could share. I think I'm going to share this with you, Corey, and you're going to post this for folks.
That is correct. And actually, I checked with Karen for your email address. I put it in the chat box already.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem, guys. Please do not hesitate. The one last thing I just want to show real quick before we leave, just so folks can see the changes that were taking place with Google Classroom. Please understand that, let me go into my school account. Google Classroom now has the secure meeting links within Google Classroom, okay? So if you're sharing meetings with your students, okay, let's go to Classroom. If you're sharing meeting links with students through Calendar or starting your own Google Meet, you're able to do this now inside of, log into your Google, your Gmail, okay, your school Gmail. In the top right corner, you'll see that little icon for whatever school district you're in, the little picture. You're going to go to your waffle and you're going to head down to Classroom. And once you are in Classroom, okay, once you're in Classroom, find your class, okay, and the class that you're in, you can activate that link. So this is one of the new improvements that I want you to see. So I would just locate, let me just grab a class, okay. I teach an SAT prep. So for the SAT prep class, where this class code is normally located, the link will appear there when I follow this step. In the top right corner, there's a gear. When you select that, you'll come to your tabs and there's a general menu, okay? As you slide down under general, it says right here, Meet. Classroom now supports Meet. Generate meeting link. When I select it, there's my meeting link and it's there and it's visible. So when I save this, if you want to come back, you can just mark that at the end of the presentation. You want to see what I did. Now there's my Meet link right there, okay? So when kids click on that, they'll go to the Meet link, but they cannot go in until you're permitted to enter when I enter as the teacher. Because I'm a teacher in this class, they are students, they have to wait for me to go in, and then they can all come in the class, okay? So in here, I might just say, hey guys, we are meeting today at 3. And just post that, 3 p.m. And now the kids would know to come in at 3 p.m. Okay, and this would notify them via, because I had them all on their phone and stuff like that. So with that being said, it's phenomenal. Maybe you have somebody that's dropping in and crashing your party. You can head back to that gear, either turn it off. So now that room is closed until I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. I can click this visible to students. That shuts it down. The room is not active. Nobody can visit. And if I think someone else got the code that I didn't want them to have, I can head back here and just reset the code. And when I reset the code, it's a brand new code, secure again. Okay. So if anyone has any comments or questions, I'll stay for a bit, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. Are there any questions, Corey?
We have one person, Don, shared a really interesting resource. It's a spreadsheet of activities for Desmos. Other than that, there are no questions right now. I did put in the chat You mentioned the Google Meet within Classroom. That is a feature that has to be turned on by the school districts, and not every district has enabled it. So if
What's
you
that
do,
again? I'm sorry. I missed that part. You cut
so
out. What's that?
Google Meet within Classroom has to be
Okay.
enabled by the district. So if you don't see that
Oh,
option,
okay.
it hasn't been turned on from the back end. So it's a
Okay.
function that is possibly available, but some school districts have it disabled.
Okay. Yes. I think this is, can it be individual students? Well, let's, oh no, that was another question. Somebody asked if we're going to send the presentation, and the answer is yes. That'll be sent out shortly. Okay, and there goes another email.
Again, if you haven't put your email addresses in the chat box yet, please do that. So Marty mentioned the attendance meet, but also when you record a session on Google Meet, you get a transcript of the chat box. So when we stop the recording on the back end, we will have everything that you typed in the chat. So we'll have a list of all your email addresses. That list of email addresses only goes to the person recording. So it would only go to the teacher. It does not go to every student in the class.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. And anything you have questions about, please don't hesitate. Contact me, email me, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Okay.
Marty, thank you so much for helping us out today. I really appreciate it. Once again, Marty Ford is our special education guest host, and he did an amazing job. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. We appreciate your time. We know your time is valuable. And if you have any additional questions, Marty said he'll hang around a few minutes. I also have office hours that start at 2:30 in this same Google Meet link, so you are welcome to come back and ask questions. Stay on right now, whatever you need.
Thank you so much, guys.